Today, we're looking at a really compelling intersection.
Yeah, what have I got?
It's the longstanding tradition of Islamic charitable giving, Ibadah, and this growing trend of anonymous donations.
Ah, okay. And how tech fits in.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Especially how cryptocurrency is playing a role. You're tuning in because you want to get a solid grasp of this quickly and thoroughly.
Right.
So our aim in this deep dive is to really understand the core ideas behind charity in Islam,
Yeah.
why anonymous giving is so significant, and then how crypto is becoming a tool here.
Absolutely. And we've got some fascinating material that really shines a light on how these, seemingly different worlds are connected.
Connected by some pretty fundamental ideas about faith, intention, things like that.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Charity in Islam, it's more than just being nice, isn't it? It's fundamental.
Oh, absolutely. It's a cornerstone, really.
Yeah.
Giving charity is a foundational practice seen as an act of worship, ibadah, as you mentioned.
Right.
And the information we've looked at, it stresses that the Quran and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, they're full of encouragement for giving. It's often called sadaqah.
Sadaqah, okay?
Yeah, and it's understood as something that brings benefits both ways to the giver and the receiver.
And then there's zakat. That's a bit different, isn't it? How does that fit in? It's not just voluntary, right?
Correct. Zakat is specific. It's an obligatory annual contribution. Think of it as one of the main pillars of Islam.
A pillar, okay?
Yeah, religious duty. A certain portion of a Muslim's wealth goes to support the poor, the needy. It's seen as purifying one's wealth.
Purifying wealth, I like that. Making sure resources get around.
Exactly, ensuring circulation within the community.
Yeah.
But beyond zakat, there's still that broader idea of sadaqah, which covers all the voluntary giving.
Okay, so giving is clearly vital. Now, this idea of anonymity, giving in secret.
Yeah.
Why is that so important in Islam? Often generosity is quite public these days.
That's a really great point. It raises a key question, which the materials touch on. How do you fulfill this vital obligation, this act of worship, but protect the sincerity of it?
Protect it from what? Like pride?
Exactly. Avoiding worldly desires like pride or wanting recognition. Anonymous giving is a powerful way to address that.
Okay.
It really helps cultivate sincerity, making sure the act is purely for seeking, Allah's pleasure, not people's praise.
And there's actual guidance on this in Islamic texts, isn't there? Specific verses.
Yes, absolutely. Quran verse 2.271 comes up often in this context.
What does it say? Roughly.
Well, it mentions that, giving charity openly isn't wrong, but giving to the needy in secret is actually better.
Better. Okay.
And that Allah is fully aware of everything, open or secret. So it really places a high value on discretion in charity.
So it's more than just a suggestion. It's like a preferred way.
Right.
What are the upsides of this anonymity based on what we've seen?
The sources point to a few key benefits. First, it directly counters hypocrisy riyah. Yeah, that's giving mainly to be seen and praised by others. Anonymity kind of cuts that off at the knees, reducing the temptation.
Right. Takes the audience away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Second, it purifies the intention. If there's no social reward expected, the giver is much more likely to be focused solely on the spiritual aspect, on seeking God's reward.
Makes sense.
And third, and this is really important, it protects the dignity of the person receiving the help.
Hadn't thought of that angle as much.
Yeah, getting aid privately means they don't face potential embarrassment or, public exposure of their need. It's about respect.
That makes a lot of sense. It really shifts the focus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Away from the giver's ego, more towards the recipient's needs and the spiritual side.
Precisely.
Okay, let's bring in the crypto angle now.
Yeah.
How does this, very modern technology connect with such a long-standing religious principle?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. Cryptocurrency, especially things like Bitcoin, remember it came out in 2008 from the anonymous Satoshi Nakamoto.
Right. Anonymity was baked in from the start, wasn't it?
Yeah. It really was. It offers a new pathway for anonymous giving. A core idea behind Bitcoin was decentralized, secure transfers without needing to reveal identities like you do with a bank.
Okay.
And this sort of inherent potential for privacy in many cryptocurrencies aligns remarkably well with that Islamic emphasis on concealed charity.
So the technology itself, just how some of these cryptos work, naturally supports this kind of private giving.
You could say that, yeah. The decentralized nature, the encryption. It means transactions can happen without automatically linking back to the usual personal details.
Compared to like a credit card donation or a bank wire.
Exactly. It can offer a layer of privacy for donors who genuinely want to remain anonymous for those reasons we just discussed.
So we found a specific example, didn't we? This Islamic Donate Charity. What's their story?
Yeah, they're highlighted as an organization that really saw this connection and is actively facilitating crypto donations.
So they're putting it into practice.
Right. They've set up ways to accept these donations anonymously. And importantly, they didn't just jump in. They did it with guidance from Islamic scholars.
Oh, that's key. So ensuring it's done properly, securely, within the rules.
Exactly. Secure and legally sound from an Islamic perspective.
And they mentioned this wallet-to-wallet method.
Yeah.
How does that actually work if someone wants to donate anonymously with crypto? Is it complicated?
It's presented as pretty straightforward, actually. Basically, if you want to donate, you'd get the charity's crypto address, like a digital mailbox number.
Yeah.
Then you just send the cryptocurrency directly from your own digital wallet to their wallet.
And that transfer itself doesn't shout your name from the rooftops.
Well, the transaction is recorded on the blockchain, that's how it works, but it doesn't automatically include your name, address, bank details, etc., so it preserves that anonymity.
Got it.
Although they do make it clear if you want to provide your details, maybe for a tax receipt or just because you don't mind, that option is still there.
All right, so it offers the choice. Okay, so summing up then, it really feels like donating anonymously in Islam is, well, deeply meaningful. It's about ensuring that purity of intention when you're doing this fundamental act of worship.
Absolutely. Sincerity is paramount.
And now, cryptocurrency, this very new technology, is emerging as a tool, a practical way that might make achieving that anonymity easier, maybe more accessible for some Muslims.
Exactly. It's a fascinating convergence, isn't it? A traditional spiritual value meeting a contemporary technology.
Yeah.
It provides a modern way for these charitable acts to be driven purely by that desire to help and seek spiritual reward, kind of stripping away the potential distractions of public recognition.
Really fascinating stuff. So as you're listening and thinking about this, here's something to consider. With these anonymous donation methods becoming, well, more accessible, partly thanks to technologies like crypto,
Right.
how might this actually start to reshape how we think about piety, individual devotion, and also our collective responsibility when it comes to charity?
That's a great question to ponder.
Definitely gives us something to think about.